Hello there, and welcome back to Little Bear Games. We've got a very exciting special episode for you this week, focusing on the UK Games Expo 2024. My name's Josh.
My name's Andy.
And today we're going to be, I suppose, giving a bit of an overview of our time at the Expo, as we were lucky enough to attend on Friday, 31st of May. Of course, it was a three-day event and finished on Sunday, the 2nd of June. I suppose we had to cut it short, really, Andy, didn't we, because of work commitments and such?
We did, yeah. I mean, we attended for the first time last year on a Saturday, and we thought Friday would be more interesting. Plus, it worked better with work and times like that, but it was actually quite busy.
Yeah, it was pretty hectic, particularly at the start. But, I mean, maybe the initial queues weren't helped by the fact we were carrying so many bags of board games with us on the way in.
Yeah, just a few board games is a bit of an understatement. We had the four of us and we were all carrying 2 bags each at least.
Yeah, I think I had 3, to be fair. I had one draped across my shoulders.
And you were like trouncing ahead quite a bit as well. You were determined to get to the front of the queue. It was a good idea of yours to take some board games. And as you kindly suggested, we would donate some of that money to the memory of Indie Bear. My daughter and your goddaughter, and we'll come on to that as we talk about our experience at the Games Expo.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've taken somewhat of a loose structure to this today. Normally, Andy and I have prepared kind of a rough, I suppose, set of notes in terms of a previous podcast we've done, whereas we're, to quote a famous man, raw dogging things very slightly today. So do bear with us. Now, I think we were going to start by just giving a bit of an overview of the day itself, what we got up to, point out some of the famous faces we saw, some of the cool stuff we picked up at the expo, and, you know, the unseemly amount of money that I spent that my wife still doesn't know about.
Well, and that you also raised. For a good cause, you know. So.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, where did the day begin, Andy? I mean, we've already mentioned we sort of slogged it from the car park into the expo with great big bags of board games.
Yeah, well, I guess before that, the day started at arriving at yours at about 6:20 in the morning.
Yeah.
20 minutes later than I said I would be.
Still angry.
Still angry. And you kindly drove us all the way up to the NEC, where we then did tropes, as you said. A number of bags into the NEC, and we queued to get in, which actually didn't take that long to get in at all. But once we were in the NEC, we then realised we had to get our tickets, and we queued just that bit longer while carrying bags. But we met a very nice chap while in the queue who was there with his family. And his family did the sensible thing and sat down and rested while he queued up. We didn't queue for that long. It was probably about half hour, wasn't it?
Yeah, it just felt like an extraordinarily long time, given all the bags we had.
Yeah, dragging the bags.
I should add, the reason why we had all of these bags with us was the UK Games Expo operates a bring and buy scheme. So you can essentially take in bags of old board games. Now, you can pick what price you want, put a sticker on them, and they go into effectively like a second-hand shop for the day. And it's quite a nice system because throughout the day you can see what's sold, and it makes you feel slightly less guilty about buying lots of board games.
It certainly helps with the buying of board games. And I think Jodie decided that it would be a good idea that every time you sold a board game, you had to do a happy dance.
Yeah, and I was doing quite a few happy dances.
You were doing very well. Yeah, not the dancing, I just meant you were doing well in terms of selling board games. Your dancing was terrible, but...
Oh, thank you, mate.
You're welcome.
I had my hopes set on that one. I mean, it was an all right start, wasn't it? We queued up for ages. We then broke out into the main kind of halls as such, didn't we? And started having a look around the shops, the stalls rather. And something I noticed very quickly was you and I were keeping quite a fast pace ahead of our respective partners, weren't we? And I don't know if that's because we knew we were going to get it in the neck slightly for buying things.
Quite possibly keeping our distance from the ladies so that they didn't necessarily see everything we purchased that day. Interestingly, I think you and I, without speaking, decided that our strategy was to get round there as quickly as possible, see what we liked, to then go back and spend a bit more time at the stalls that we wanted to spend time at, because it was extremely busy.
Yeah, and I know you mentioned this as well. It felt busier than last year, and I don't know if that was because it was busier than last year, but
quite possible.
I just felt it felt a little bit more cramped in places, particularly those big stands like Wayland Games, Element Games, the ones that tend to have quite good discounts on them. I mean, there was one in the kind of lower ground hall bit where you came out there and were like, mate, don't go down there unless you absolutely are dying to.
That's right. I don't remember which store, but you're right. All the board game stores that were actually selling multiple games like Zatu, Wayland Games, etc., were heaving. And I think I preferred to see the independent stores and then leave those till later in the day to see if I could pick up a bargain on a game or something, which I don't actually think I did pick anything up from any of those stores.
No, I tended to avoid them as well. I think... Oh no, having said that, I picked up my...
RPG?
Yeah, the Vyson kind of rule book.
Yeah.
Because that was something I did set out with my eye on in terms of my little itinerary I'd made on my phone before we set out for the day. And for those of you who don't know, Vyson is... I think it's been out for a few years now, but it's a tabletop role-playing game. And it's all about Nordic kind of folklore and horror, and it sounds so cool, dude.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think I work with a lot of people now who are very into D&D, and I've tried to get into D&D quite a few times and just haven't been able to, quite frankly. And I was just hoping this might be a thing that actually draws me into the world of TTRPGs.
Yeah.
I know they're so beloved, and so many people get so much joy out of them. I just think it'd be so cool to write some kind of Scandi horror thing and then pitch it to you guys. And
I think there's something you need to do sooner rather than later, because we could very much enjoy that. So I look forward to that. I think we should move on to the fact that you talked about your itinerary. One of those people on your itinerary you were very excited to see, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is Tristan Hall.
Yeah. I adore the guy. I think he's great. So Tristan Hall is a really awesome game designer who I only discovered at last year's UK Games Expo. It was the first time I kind of heard of him. And his games vary quite a bit. He's done a series of historical kind of based card games. So you've got 1066, Tears for Many Mothers, which is a card game about Battle of Hastings. You got 1565, which is all about the siege of Malta, 1860 something, I want to say. All about the Battle of Waterloo. I've never professed to be a modern historian. That's where I'm defending myself on that. And yeah, so his historical card games were great. I saw a couple of the fantasy-based ones last year, but decided to go down the more historical route. But I picked up one the other day when we were there, and that was Call of Kilforth.
Yes.
And that looks great. It's part of the Kilforth series. There's Gloom of Kilforth, Shadows of Kilforth, and now Call of Kilforth. From my understanding of speaking to Tristan at the expo, they're all very similar. Like, you don't need to play one kind of before the other. It's just what theme you like, whether you prefer a sort of Tolkien-esque one, a more, I suppose, Japanese traditional feudal style theme.
And then there was Pirates, right?
Yeah, and that's the one I went for,
Yes.
Call of Kilforth, which looked awesome and came with a really big mat, which I'm looking forward to unfolding at some point.
Yes, that mat was humongous.
Yeah, but I mean, he's just such a lovely bloke, and it was nice because when I went and found him last year, I chatted to him for ages, and you can tell he's so passionate about the games he designs. And same thing this year, and it was cool because you actually came up with me to the stall.
Yeah.
And I'd been bigging him up all the way, like, I want to go and see Tristan's stall again. Hall or Nothing is his sort of company, or I suppose a design name on the boxes. But the Hall or Nothing stand. And I was kind of worried because I thought, if we go there and, he's a bit quiet or it doesn't go very well, then I've bigged this up for nothing. But, I think you got that kind of passion coming from him as well.
Oh, 100%. The chap very much loves what he does. He's good at it. You can see that. He's designed a lot of games that you were very passionate about. And I'm very much looking forward to the game that he was explaining to us, Creel Manor.
Yeah. Creel Manor.
Creel Manor just looked like a fun dungeon crawly card game. Could you play it solo? Was there a solo option?
I can't remember if he told us that or not, but all of his other games have really good solo modes, so I'd be surprised if it didn't.
Yeah, we missed the Kickstarter, but it's on backer kit. Josh and I talked about it, and we're either going to support it on backer kit or wait until September, I think he said they release. And then hopefully they'll be on his website, and that'll be a game that we can pick up.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really excited for it. And as I say, those historical games were excellent. They were really, really good fun. And I'm looking forward to cracking open Call of Killforth in the meantime and learning that.
So that was the first stall that we spent some money at. Yeah. I say we, mainly you.
Yeah.
And some of the birthday money that we'd given you for your big birthday this year.
Yeah, thank you.
Where did we go after that? I think we went to my friend's stall. So a good friend of mine's sister was there at a stall called Tinker Podium. She makes stuff for D&D. And as we don't play, we went there and had a quick chat, and then I moved on. Where did we go after that?
Well, I have a bone to pick with you, actually, because you left that poor gentleman hanging on that stall that was selling the thing.
The thing were there, and I have wanted the thing for at least a year now. And they had a stall there this year, which included some of the Kickstarter versions of the game. So I had an option to buy that, along with a very large mat, instead of using the board game, which was very, very cool. I decided to leave it there because I didn't want to carry the game round, and unfortunately, I didn't go back. I think I made a decision afterwards because I came on and we purchased a different game. I thought I would leave it this year. It's probably something I'm going to regret. The thing is something I have wanted for quite some time, but I decided at the time that because we've got Indie Fest coming up and things like that, that maybe my money would be best spent elsewhere. I'm sure that'll come and bite me in the butt at some point. And then I picked up Spicy finally. Yeah. Spicy's a 2 to 6 player game that I have wanted again for some time. And every time I walked into a board game shop, I couldn't find it. And I didn't want to just buy it online from Amazon and whoever. I like to support my local resellers. So I managed to pick that up. And I think that was my first purchase of the day.
Yeah, because you have been after that for a while. And it's got such good reviews from a lot of the big kind of channels and critics and stuff. So I'm looking forward to you cracking that open.
I was going to crack it open last night because we had a board game night last night, but we decided not to. And I purchased it there and then because if you know Spicy at all, it's a very small box and it could go in my partner's handbag. So that was absolutely fine. From there, we moved on to a few of the other stalls.
Yeah, well, I mean, we spent a lot of time at Flesh and Blood, didn't we?
We did spend a lot of time at Flesh and Blood. They were running demos. Yeah. You and I hadn't played that before.
No, so that's been on my radar at the very least quite a while. Looking for kind of an alternative to Magic the Gathering and Lorcana in that sense. Just looking for a new trading card game to kind of get into, and it's really nice to see how Flesh and Blood's picked up because when it first came out, I remember certain YouTube videos like Tolarian Community College and the Professor, of course, kind of doing a video introducing it. And being really excited for it, looking online, and it hadn't really released in the UK at that point. You could get it, but the import costs were absolutely astronomical.
Right.
And now that it's really well supported and, has a bit of a community behind it, I think it's a really good time to kind of jump into it. And that's certainly what we did. I mean, we played that demo.
Which went pretty well.
Yeah, it was really solid, really nice and quick. We played Blitz, which is a kind of shorter, more accessible format. And Andy, you beat me. I can't remember how many life you had left at the end, but you managed to...
It was close. Yeah. It was close, but I just beat you.
Yeah, and it was really good fun. And we went to the stall, didn't we, and bought a kind of release pack for the new set.
Yeah, and that's one of the other reasons that drawed us to it, right? So this release set has 3 starter decks, a mat, and some booster cards.
Yeah.
And was totaled £60.
Yeah.
And you just think of all the TCGs that are out there, that's very good value for money. Whether they hold their value as well as other TCGs is beyond me at this moment, but I thought that was good value for money. So I think we both ended up purchasing that set, and as a result of the money we spent, we got some promo cards.
Yeah.
And we spoke to them for quite a while about the game and the fact that there are co-op options. So, Flesh and Blood, something I'm very much looking forward to playing more often.
Yeah, and they were lovely on the stall, all of them. Had loads of time to kind of talk to us for a while. And, it was really good, really positive.
In fact, I should mention they gave us a free starter deck, didn't they?
Yeah,
the one that
yeah.
we played at the demo. So that was the only freebie that we got. So we got a freebie deck from Flesh and Blood, which was nice of them. And then after that, we moved on to
you had a bit of a look around Geek and Son, didn't you?
we moved on to Geek and Son. Geek and Son are a furniture store. Not really a furniture store, but makers of furniture that are games related. So last May, not this May just gone, last May, Jodie and I backed their Kickstarter and purchased their Gwen gaming table, which arrived May this year, and it's fantastic. We love it. We couldn't afford all of the accessories, so we went to the store to have a look and see if they had any accessories for our table, which unfortunately they didn't, but they've let us know that they're going to be doing accessories later this year, so we'll buy a few accessories, like the box for the leaves that come off the gaming table for the recessed area. So looked at their tables, and
I know I'm quite happy in the way you went there, because Jazz brought me over to it to go and find you.
Yes.
And she's seen the coffee table version, and
Yes.
she's quite keen on that. So I might actually be able to join you in that very exclusive club at some point.
That would be fantastic. This was the coffee table that had extendable legs, is that right?
Yeah, I believe so.
So you could have it sort of coffee table height, or I guess, I don't know what you call it, stool height, or just a normal table, I guess, that would be slightly smaller.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I wasn't really that interested in the sort of inner machinations of it.
Okay.
I just saw a nice table with
Yes.
a felt lining on the inside for games and got very excited.
They are very nice tables. They are pricey, but worth it if you can save the money to do it. So yeah, spent some time at Geek and Sons. That's a pleasant stall. They're there every year, or have been the 2 years that we've been there.
Yeah, were there any stalls in particular you noticed were absent this year?
I was very much looking forward to seeing Ivy Studios. They're an American-based firm and were there last year. And when we arrived on the Saturday, they had sold out of the game that I wanted, which was Mystic Mischief.
Okay.
They do Moonrakers, which is a deck building game that I'm pretty sure I've spoken about before.
Yeah, you have.
Or
Yeah.
I will be in an episode that's coming up after this. Moonrakers is a great deck building game. Mystic Mischief is another one of their games that I haven't played yet and wanted. So they weren't there this year, and I was, gutted that they weren't. I'm not sure why they weren't there. And then the other one was Big Potato Games that I kind of expected to be there, because I wanted to get a couple of their games for Indie Fest. They've got some dexterity games, so that...
Was this the one that did the bottle thing? You had to balance stuff on top of a bottle?
That's right. You balance cards. So you just get a normal bottle, beer bottle, or glass bottle, and then a cork top goes in the top, and you balance credit card size cards, different colours, etc. And it just looks like fun. It'd be one that we can put on a table and the kids can play at Indie Fest, or us adults as we get a little bit more drunk as the day goes on. So that looks like it would be good fun. So those were the two big ones that I missed. Were there any that you were looking forward to?
No, I believe most of mine were there, but I'd seen in previous years.
Yes.
A couple have moved, so I was a bit worried to start with. I couldn't.
They were in a
find them
different place. Yeah.
Yeah, there was going back to the kind of TCRPG thing. There's a very very old school one called Sword and Sorcery.
Okay.
And I was really tempted to pick up one of their books last year, but then obviously ended up sort of spending money elsewhere. And unfortunately, they lost out on me again this year because I saw Vyson there.
Okay.
And I was like, I've got to stick to what I was looking for. I can't kind of split myself between two different systems this early on.
Yes.
So no, that was the only one. But I think last year they were next to Geek and Son, and now they'd moved like a few aisles over.
Okay.
But I still managed to find them. But no, all of mine were there. Saw quite a few famous faces there though. That was cool as well.
That was cool. I think I pointed out John Perkis from Actual LOL was just kind of strolling around the convention, which was very, very cool, actually.
You know how, when you normally see celebrities, they look slightly different to how you're used to seeing them?
Yes.
He's interesting because he doesn't. He looks exactly the same and is kind of the height I imagine him to be as well.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting because he was taller than I expected, I guess, because in his YouTube, so for anyone who doesn't know, Actual LOL YouTube channel, go check him out. He's normally sat behind a desk, so I've never actually seen how tall he was. So yeah, he's a very tall chap.
Yeah. I got very excited because I saw Duncan Rhodes.
You did
There, and
yes.
that was my real little fangirl moment of the whole expo. That was where I was like, Andy,
Yes,
it's
yeah,
Duncan,
I remember
it's
getting
Duncan Rhodes.
poked in the arm. It's Duncan.
Yeah.
That was very cool. He had a masterclass
Yeah,
for
painting
painting.
masterclass. So
Yeah.
again, those of you who don't know, Duncan Rhodes used to work for Games Workshop and was one of, if not the kind of top painting guy there. And he did nigh on all of their kind of early YouTube videos for painting tutorials. So it was really exciting for me, as I imagine it would be a lot of kind of Warhammer fans or
Yes.
Games Workshop fans, to see the guy who kind of taught you to paint your first mini, because he's the guy who taught me how to paint my first Tyranid model, and there he was. It was a real nice kind of moment. That was really cool. I'm sure a lot of people kind of owe him a lot in terms of helping them learn how to paint and thinning your paints and all this stuff. And he runs his own. He's broken away from Games Workshop now and has his own painting academy,
Which is awesome.
So I mean, good for him. It was really really nice seeing there.
And then I saw Ben from the Pandemonium Institute. And for those that don't know, Pandemonium Institute are the guys behind Blood on the Clock Tower. Ben tends to run their YouTube channel as the storyteller, but was also on No Rolls Bard's Blood on the Clock Tower. He's the storyteller there. So that's very cool seeing Daddy Ben, as he's referred to.
I think the only other ones, I think the only other people I saw there were there was a couple of guys from the guys from miniwargaming.com were walking around in big power armor suits.
Yes.
Kind of Space Marines and all that sort of stuff. So it was cool seeing them walk around as well.
We decided to call it a day around 3:30.
Yeah, about 3:30, 4 o'clock-ish. Just
after doing enough of your happy dances for board games that you sold, and we went to go and collect the remainder of our board games that we hadn't sold.
Yeah.
Along with the money that we had made that day. And I remember queuing up. We got a little bit frustrated because it was, as much as I love the Games Expo, and I don't want to talk badly of the bring and buy, there were a couple of things that weren't advertised on the website. For instance, you had to pay a fee to put your board games up for sale. So we were stuck, and they didn't accept cards. So we were caught short there, but we managed to sort that out. As well as that, they took a 10% commission. And I think we had a discussion thinking, the Games Expo, don't they make enough money as it is? And actually what it turns out, as we went to the bring and buy to collect our money, the lady had handed over approximately £90 to us for the games that Jodie and I had sold that day with Josh's contributions. And I had said to her, thank you, this money is going towards the fundraising that we've done for Indy and has now taken us over £10,000. Thank you very much. And she politely said, oh, well, that's great to know. The commission that you've paid today and all the money raised here actually goes to charity, which I was blown away to hear. It was nice to hear, and it was gutting that they didn't advertise it as much. I said, do you mind me asking which charity? And she pointed at the poster on the wall, which was a big poster, but this was a very big room and it was one poster. And it happened to be SUDC UK. And for those that don't know, that's Sudden Unexpected Death in Children, which is unfortunately how we lost our indie bear. It was an unexpected death. She went down to sleep. We won't get into that. It was nice to know that that was a charity that they were supporting. And rather than collecting the game, we decided to leave the game, the 3 games that we had remaining, because if they had sold over the weekend, that money gets donated to the charity as well. So we decided not to collect those games and leave that as a donation, which we then all got emotional because it was nice, a touching end to a really nice day.
Well, you say that, but if we're going to be totally honest, I went off separately, didn't I? And I got really cross because there was no signs for like the queuing systems.
Yes.
And I came back and you were like, Josh, you won't believe what money's going to. I was like, oh, God, you won't believe this queue. It's terrible. These guys don't know what they're doing. And I like marched past you and went in. and then I went and collected my stuff and came back and I was like, oh, Andy, have you seen that poster? And you were all crying. I'm like, yeah, we were going to tell you.
You were zoned in on trying to...
try and get in.
Yeah, exactly. So we kind of ended our day there. We thankfully didn't have to walk back with any big carry bags.
No, we did well.
Other than the games that we had purchased, but nowhere near as many as we had walked in with.
No, I mean, I managed to get rid of 17.
Was it 17 games?
17. Yeah.
Well, we got rid of, I think it was 11 or 12, of which 9 sold while we were there. The remainder sold and went to SUDC, UK. The money then we've collected, we've given to the Grand Appeal and Children's Hospice Southwest. And as I say, that pushed us over 10,000. So for me, it was a very exciting day.
Yeah.
And quite an emotional one then on the way back because, we'd hit a target that we didn't think we'd get anywhere near. So thank you, Josh, for donating some games and for that great suggestion.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. And it was, it was a lovely day. It was really, really good. And very much looking forward to attending next year.
Yeah, next year, maybe over the 3 days. We'll see. We'll see how the podcast grows. And
well, we might have our own stall next year. Who knows?
That would be very nice. Yes, we very much look forward to expanding the brand of Little Bear Games and maybe selling games in the future, that kind of thing. So
absolutely. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. We're keeping it fairly brief today because, there's not a huge amount to say.
No, it was just to give you a bit of an update and what we thought on the Games Expo. So thank you for tuning in. We have an Instagram account, which is at Little Bear Games Insta. So please go give us a follow and like. And if you want to contact us, info@beargames.co.uk.
Yeah, please send in your thoughts, questions, all that kind of stuff. And we've started running a few competitions on the Instagram now, so please feel free to get stuck in and start entering those.
Fantastic. Well, I've been Andy.
I'm Josh.
And we'll see you next time.
Take care, everyone.
Before you leave, you must know you are beloved. Before you leave, remember I was with you.